Have you ever heard a elder tell you that they had celiac once, but now they don't? Like they had it once, but they're cured. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why this happens, why some people think they've been cured of celiac disease. And we're also going to discuss some of the history of celiac disease. It's going to be a really interesting video. So if you're here for that, stick around. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Taylor. I am a fellow celiac of 10 plus years, and I am a celiac specialized dietitian. And I've been in a lot of cases actually where I'll be sitting at a table, I'll be like in my community, and I'll come across an elder who says that they've had celiac before, but they don't have it anymore. Like, I'm sorry, this is incurable? Where are you getting that from? And I always have to bite my tongue because I always have to understand, like, as a celiac dietitian, it's not my job to manage other people's health care, and I'm not their provider, so it's not my job to speak on it. I don't know what's going on with them, but it's always like a stressor in my mind because I'm like, okay, but if you ever got diagnosed with celiac disease, then you definitely still have it. But let's talk about why that is something that happened for a minute. Why there are a lot of elders who used to have celiac but no longer have it. Let's talk about it. So to understand where this comes from, we need to understand the history of celiac disease. And so the first thing you need to know is this is a fairly new autoimmune disease relatively to other conditions that we know about. This is fairly new and is growingly more widely accepted in the medical community, but it's also why you might find some healthcare providers still don't fully accept it as a diagnosis. This is increasingly more and more rare, but I have encountered it as a provider, so I say that this is why this potentially is a thing. This is a fairly new diagnosis. So historically, there's always been an observation of people having malabsorption and malnutrition, but they couldn't really figure out what was going on. And in 1887, Dr. Gee or Dr. G, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, speculated that what was being observed, celiac disease, he speculated that food could be the potential answer. It could be the solution. Now, I'm skipping a lot of key dates here, but if we fast track to 1924, Dr. Haas, Haas, takes that idea that the cure for celiac disease could be food, build on it, and decides that a banana diet is the cure to celiac disease. This is in 1924, which is building the now myth, the now debunked idea that celiac disease can be cured, because he presents it as it is a cure for celiac disease. He puts these kids on what's known as the banana diet, and they're eating sometimes they're eating a ton of bananas a day. They're also eating some other foods, but they're eating a ton of bananas a day, and then they seemingly no longer have malabsorption. They no longer have these symptoms they were presenting with, and so they're cured, right? Because they ate these bananas, they ate these diets that was naturally low in gluten, and they're cured. So they think that it's a cure. However, it's not until 1952 that Dr. Dick and colleagues actually identify gluten as the trigger. So in 1924, they think they've identified the cure, a banana diet, but then in 1952, they identify gluten as the trigger for celiac disease, and they realize there's no cure. The banana diet isn't the cure, and they identify that the treatment, the ability to heal the small intestine and prevent it from being damaged is a gluten-free diet. And that happened in the 1950s, in 1952 specifically. So as of recording this today, it's 2025. So that was 73 years ago. 73 years ago is when it was officially that a gluten-free diet was the treatment for celiac disease, but not the cure. And the banana diet was debunked. However, the medical community doesn't move incredibly fast, as we see with diagnoses not fully being accepted for long periods of time, and people not being fully up to date on best practices, what have you. It's a slow thing. So over 73 years ago is when we found this, but if anyone was diagnosed but in this time, and they're 73 years old, or they're, maybe a little bit younger, this could be why they potentially think that they've been cured of celiac if they were treated and got treatment from a provider who thought the banana diet was still a cure or was a cure, depending on when they were diagnosed, right? So that's why you may come across people who think that they've been cured of celiac disease, specifically elders, people who were diagnosed a long, long time ago, like way back in the day. And this is also something to hold in context and to keep in the front of our mind, because the way that we manage celiac disease has been changed often and it's constantly evolving based on new data that we get. And this is speaking to a lot of things. So for a long time, we thought the banana diet was a cure, and then we've gotten regulations to protect gluten-free foods. We've got more gluten-free alternatives. A lot of people who were diagnosed like me over a decade ago or even longer ago will tell you the gluten-free management scene looks so much different than when they were diagnosed decades ago. So this is something to keep in mind, and something that when I talk about celiac safety and I say, if you've not been diagnosed and if you've not worked with a celiac dietitian in the past 3 to 5 years, we've gotten a lot of new data, a lot of new information on how to manage cross-contact with celiac disease that blows people's minds. We've got a lot of new information on avoiding gluten in food products, beauty products, what have you. And if you've not worked with a celiac dietitian who is up to date on this and is aware of this and has sat you down and explained to you how to avoid gluten and cross-contact when you're consuming and using products to when you're managing cross-contact in your home, a friend's home, an Airbnb, a restaurant, what have you, that my resources are going to really make a difference for you, especially if you can't access a celiac specialized dietitian who's up to date in your area, because my self-paced courses are up to date and I made them, and I get so many testimonials about how helpful they are. So when I talk about things have changed and people want to fight me on it, please remember where we came from when it comes to celiac management and understand we've made huge strides in research and science on how we manage it today just in the past few years. So if you need this help, by the way, if you want to stay up to date, I've got some courses and resources down below, some free, some paid. So go check them out. And also, what do you think about this history of celiac disease? What was the most interesting to you? Have you come across people who say that they've been cured from celiac disease and they no longer have it? How do you handle that? Because it always... It always hurts my dietitian soul because I know that it's not true, and I also need to balance. I'm not their provider, so I don't want to tell them they're wrong. It's not my business, but anyways, did you find this video helpful? Give it a thumbs up if so, if you found it entertaining. If you want more content from a fellow celiac specialized registered dietitian, hit that subscribe button. And all of that said, my name is Taylor, fellow celiac and celiac specialized dietitian. I will see you when I see you.